But now I would give the floor to three lovely presenters. We have Eglė from Lithuania, we have Sandra from Estonia, we have Sintija from Latvia. And Eglė would start, right?
Yes.
Yes, you have the microphone, so the floor is yours. And all together, you should manage, three of you, you should manage during the next 1 hour. So how you split the timing, you can decide. Yes,
Okay.
Eglė from Vytautas Magnus first.
Yeah, hello. Hello, everyone. Yeah, first time with this kind of technique, so I hope I will not ruin everything. So, hello, everyone. My name is Eglė Januškevičienė. I'm from Lithuania, Vytautas Magnus University. I work at the international office, and I'm a big fan of Erasmus program. I'm working with a program for I guess 8 years, and from the very beginning I'm working with K107, so I know a little bit about it. I will start, just a short review of the university to have an image about who we are. So we have near 9,000 students at our university, and more than 1,500 students are our international students, so the ones who are coming for full-time studies and also for the exchange. We have more than 40 bachelor and master's degree programs taught fully in English. Also, we offer 30 foreign languages for our students every semester. They can, not only for students, for staff as well. At the moment, we have more than 800 agreements with the partner universities from over 77 countries around the world. And out of them, I guess 140 agreements are in K107 program. Okay, so there are 12 academic subdivisions at our university. Before we had 10, and since 2019, we merged with the 2 other universities in Lithuania, so now we are much bigger altogether. And since 2019, we have a new big education academy and also agriculture academy. So of course, this merger changed our international path as well. How we lived in this and how we started, and what's Erasmus K107 for us. So, from the very beginning, from the first call, which was announced in 2014, we started to prepare the application, and we applied in 2015, and then every year until the last call in 2020, and of course we are waiting for the new call, and we will apply for the next. Since we already had the contacts, we had the partnerships with the other universities around the world. I guess in 2014-15 we had more than 200 memorandum of understandings or bilateral exchange agreements with the partners all over the world. So we decided not to look for the new ones, but to implement Erasmus agreements with the projects with them. And the main reason for participating in general in this Erasmus K107 is to give opportunities to our students and to our staff members to create the real partnerships, just when the students can go and to study and to get the knowledge from the other universities, and the same for staff. Let's say since 2008, our university established VMU Mobility Scholarship for the students who wants to go abroad, not to the EU countries, but let's say to Japan to South Korea to United States and for all those further countries. So the students had a little support from the university and they could go there, but we didn't have any funds for the staff. So that they could go, right, and to make the real connections and to give lectures, to get a support for them and so on. So that was the main reason to participate there. So our quite a big part of MOUs became Erasmus agreements. Yeah, and when we started to write the application, of course, we had to gather the team. So we asked some information. We asked send the questionnaires to our faculties just to know which countries, which programs are more important for them, what they want to create, what they want to prepare. Then also we send the questionnaires to our partners around the world just to know what's their opinion, of course, all the necessary information for the application and so on. And then there was a team at our international cooperation department. So on the first 2 or 3 years, everyone in our international office was working with the application. You will see why. We applied for many countries. And more than 10 people gathered all the information from the faculties, from our partner institutions, and we were writing the application. And then 3 years ago, I guess in 2018, we changed our strategy of writing the application. And there left only 3 people who are directly working with the Erasmus K107 or with those bilateral agreements. And we were writing the application, and I guess, in my opinion, it was much, much better. So you can see that in 2015, we applied for 32 countries. We received funding for 5 countries. And the results really changed in 2018, 19th and 20th especially. Well, 19th and 20th are quite different, because then we applied for 41 countries, but it's connected with the merger of the universities. You know, the Agricultural Academy and the Education Academy, they came with their countries, with their partners, with their experience. And of course, we wanted to all to have the same possibilities so that's why we applied for a lot. So about the implementation, it was quite okay. I guess all the projects were implemented successfully. We finished them. In some years, the number of implemented mobilities is higher than the received grants. It's because some students were coming with 0 grants. Of course, we received some national funds for that, and we could let out our staff members and students with the national scholarships. So that was really okay. Of course, we are a bit concerned about 2019 and 2020. So we hope that the COVID situation will get better soon, and we will be able to complete everything on time. And but maybe okay. Maybe just a short thing that what's the additional value of this? So that we could really create the links between the universities, and we could really create some really good projects. So one case could be that we have double degree programs with some universities, and that our teachers could go there and come to us to give lectures and to ensure the quality of of those programs. Of course, we can give the opportunity to our staff members to go to learn about the other universities, cultures, and everything, and to get more knowledge for their subjects and so on. About the COVID, it came fast, unexpected, and of course none of us could ever imagine that we will live like this. But on March 14, we received the first message from the government, also from our rector, that in 2 days there will be a quarantine, everything will be closed, the study schools and everything. And it was Saturday evening, I remember, and during that night until the next morning, we already had the team at our International Cooperation Department. Also, the Vice Rector of International Relations joined that team. So they were working with all issues. I mean, how to communicate, what to say to the students, to the staff who are abroad, for the ones who came that we are hosting, right? And all the refunds and all very important things was decided by that team of persons. And by that time, it was very important to communicate, right? So what we did, every coordinator was writing emails to the students, to the staff who was abroad. We made the video calls. We had seminars, like presentations online for them. We were giving full support what we could do. Also, we have a psychologist working at the International Cooperation Department, and she was prepared. She was giving consultations online because that time for everyone was really, really stressful. Also, what we created in our university, so with the help of the rector, of course, we had a fund of 100,000 euros, I guess, to give us support for students and staff who had some financial losses during that period. So let's say the students who were abroad, who had to go back to Lithuania, they lost, let's say, their deposit for the apartment rent. Or they had to buy the new tickets, right? And the others were not funded. So we give that support to them. Also, every student who was abroad, who were abroad on that time, they received additional 100 euros payment, just to cover at least a small amount of their expenses there during the COVID. Of course, like in every of these moments, we had a couple exceptional cases. I would like to mention 2 of them. So I will talk about the Kosovo at first, that we had 3 students from Kosovo who were studying at our university then. And while there was still the borders closed, in the end of May, I guess, there was one of the students' sister, who was studying in Germany. She had an accident and she passed away. And my student, she was supposed to somehow to reach Germany and to bring her sister home for the funeral. It was really stressful. We didn't know how to do that, but the embassy, the government from Kosovo, somehow they managed to organize, to arrange the transportation. So what I had to do, me personally, I took that student, I drove with her to the border of Poland. Then on the border, there was another car waiting for her. They picked her. Then they, as I know, took her to the border of Germany. Then they switched the cars again, and then somehow she reached home. Really emotional moment, but somehow we managed that. Another case was with Azerbaijan. That was a different one. Because we had one teacher who was supposed to come to Lithuania in the end of March. And when we got the news that everything will be closed, so we had to cancel, of course, all the meetings and all the staff visits. And when I wrote him that message that, we're sorry, you are not able to come, he said, okay, I'm still coming. How? I don't know. He ignored all my emails. He said, I'm still coming. I have agreement, I have financial agreement. We set the dates. I have the topics. I have everything. I'm coming. And he was writing to me. He was writing to the department to which he was supposed to come. And so then, I don't know, maybe in a week, he realized that, okay, the planes are not going. So, okay, give me the connections to your online lecturing. So I will give the lectures online, and then I will come in July in person. Because, for the virtual mobility, he was supposed to return the grant. And I said that, I'm sorry, in July we are not having the lectures, it's a holiday period. And then he started to write to our national agency, to the European Commission. So it was that crazy, and so many emails, and those emails were like really long. And still, that time was so stressful. We were trying to support the students and the others, and some guy was saying that I'm coming. So, so our vice rector, she wrote to that university a long email explaining the situation, and that was it. That was the end. And that university apologized. They returned the funds to us and solved the situation. So, luckily. And how the COVID looks today from our side. So, we are so happy that we have students back to the university. We have a face-to-face lectures, most of them, not all, but most of them. We have a team, again, the team at our International Cooperation Department. So 3 people are working with all incoming students. We give information consultations. We reserve the places at our dormitories for self-isolation period. We inform them about the vaccination and so on. So, it's going quite well. Still, like in comparison, last September, only 1 student left for the exchange to South Korea. And this year I have 11 students who went for studies abroad. And last autumn I had 5 incoming students to our university for exchange. This semester I have 26, I guess. So, of course, it's changing, and the COVID is changing, and more and more people get vaccinated, and let's hope it will finish very soon. And about the new period, we are really waiting for it. We're waiting for any news and how those projects will look like. So what do we expect as a university, as the ones who are applying? So we expect simplified application for funding, because it's huge. Takes more time and efforts to prepare good applications. Also, Erasmus without papers. As I know, it's only going on with Erasmus in K103 or 131. It also would be really good to have the same in K171, because now we are just sending the paper, let's say, okay, the scanned documents, right? But still it's the paper, yeah, when you need to print it and to sign it. And yeah, it would be good to have the system, yeah, for using the digital signings. What we expect else, it's a flexibility. Yeah, what they promised. So yeah, that we will be able to move grants between within the region, between other countries. So we hope that we will have that. Also, we expect the stable funding. What I want to say that if we received grants for one region or for one country in 1 year, we hope to have it next year, because we need to have the continuity of the projects with the same partners. Yeah, because let's say if we say for our Japan partners that this year we have one grant for student and one grant for staff, then next year we will not have anything, and then maybe next year. So it's not the real thing. Yeah, we still need to have that. Yeah. And another thing is the mobility grant diversification by region. Let's say if a student is going to the United States and he receives 700 euros per month. As I know from the students, you can cover maximum 50% of all your expenses in there. But if the student is going to the Ukraine, so with the 700 euros per month, I heard it from the students, you can rent a flat with a jacuzzi and TV screens and everything, and you can live like a king for the whole period. So yes, it would be really good to have that diversification. And that's all what I wanted to say. Thank you very much. If you have any questions. Thank you.
Now it should work. Thank you very much, Eglė. I don't know. I have so many new ideas listening to your presentation. For example, new slogans, for example, for Erasmus Plus. Not like this here, but I'm coming. Erasmus Plus. Or, for example, Vytautas Magnus University, International Credit Mobility, live like a king. And then the photo of the student with in the jacuzzi and reading online materials and studying. So, and anyway, I'm not continuing, but wonderful presentation and
thank you so much.
Very nice results. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And a small present too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Who would be our next speaker? Is it Sandra? Yes, Sandra from the Estonian Academy of Arts, Eesti Kunstiakadeemia. The floor is yours.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. And I'm sharing experiences from our credit mobility program. Starting with a video which presents what our institution is about, and also maybe taken from the last presentation, thinking about the EVP and how the students have to deal with all these things. Sometimes they also go on traineeships to small companies, and if this is the future, then it's quite interesting how they will handle and how we will handle tackling down small institutions, small companies, and asking them to log into huge Erasmus without paper program, because the next video presents our students going to traineeship in Balenciaga.
I think it has a lot of potential, not just because it's my work, but because was just a lot of fun with it.
One day I was a little bit tired from teaching a large number of students. In the UK, student group is pretty large. It could reach up to 90. We take only 8 students per year. So students can get personal consultation or advice.
The teacher knows you inside out. And when you're writing an essay or you have a project, the teacher has enough time.
Ma sain endale kindlust, et see eriala, mis ma olen valinud, toidab mind väga palju seesmiselt. Kas või see, kui ma panin need motiivid paika ja need ei olnud sinna veel õmmeldud, et lihtsalt see hetk, kui ma nägin seda enda ees, ma lihtsalt tundsin enne pisaraid, ma tundsin, et see ongi see, mille pärast ma teen ja see, et ma olen valmis istuma ööd ja päevad koolis ja magamata mitte ühtegi tundi lihtsalt selle nimel, et näha seda lõpp-protsessi, et see annab mulle mingit kindlust, et ma olen õigel teel.
So our institution is really small. We have like 1,300 students altogether. And of course, most of the people from Estonia know about it, but there is 6 public universities in Estonia, and we are one of them. Nevertheless, quite successful and in Erasmus program, where we have been since 1999. And our message is that all of our students and employees should have some sort of international experience. It doesn't have to be long-term mobility. It can also be within the Baltic, Nordic region. So we're actually very active in the Nord Plus program as well. But of course, ever since we got the message that there is this wonderful opportunity, K107, we did apply as well, and have been cooperating with very many regions. And of course, not surprisingly so, the most popular areas where the students want to go are the United States and Canada, where we know that there is only 3% of funding available. So I was sitting here thinking, what should I do with this 20%, which we know that from K103 we should be sharing equally with all the other regions. But then I know that there is such a high interest in going to certain areas. So the application process, as you all know, of course, is quite difficult. And nevertheless, we do want to participate in the program because the students are really keen on going beyond. And it all started for us even actually with an Erasmus Mundus mobility project with Israeli universities. And then we discovered that, there are wonderful scholarships available for the students and staff. And when the message came that there is K107, we all did, of course, apply. I mean, actually what I mean to say is that, well, in a way it's one person writing the application, right? You get the implication that you want to have this project, but then in the end, it's usually very few people really working hands-on with all the acronyms, what you were saying, and explaining, like being the communication office, saying like, any South, what is it? And I'm always thinking, why don't they have pictograms or something? Why do I have to do this job? It should be like somehow easier. So these are some of these thoughts. But the students are, of course, very happy, and the ones who are coming in as well. They are really, we have really established some global networks, and this is great for them. And also these life-changing experiences, which I will show you a bit later. And also at the institutional level. So we have started really high-flying projects with arts and design institutions in Australia and Canada, but also in Ghana. And the recent thing which we have high hopes for is with Kenya, where Reetaus, who is a well-known designer at the local level, is trying to establish a traineeship program with the students from EKA and also in the Moi University there. So I see a huge potential, and I really hope that the call will be out very soon, because the students are waiting and the teachers are waiting. And in the previous presentation, it was mentioned that the continuity is really important in this project. And sometimes I'm also thinking, I mean, I don't want to be really critical, but when Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania are so digitally advanced, why all these application processes have to be so difficult when they can also be easy, like maybe we often experience in our country. So maybe there's a wider message that we can give you these tools to make all these things. I know, of course, that there are state procurements and stuff like this, but still it could be much more easier, I think. So this is the agony part. I can say that the application process is quite difficult because you never know when the call is out, and even if you plan, then it doesn't come at the time when you want it to be. Planning within the institution, explaining all these keywords that we have, among other things, what one has to do, and then you think that it can be easier. The partner agreements, they were very difficult to explain in the beginning. I don't know how you had it, but when we started cooperating with the United States, of course, they have like huge legal departments, and they were going through all these applications and all these forms and agreements, like what is it about and what does it mean to us? And of course, you explain that, okay, this is the European Union, it's not just the Estonian Academy of Arts trying to make a deal with you, but then it was quite difficult. But eventually, I think now it's quite easy. Even now, when I turn to these partners in Kenya, trying to explain in long terms like what it is about, and then they just put on Zoom one of these bilateral agreement forms and said, yeah, we know what you're talking about. We have like 10 partners. So I think it's getting better, but this was definitely in the beginning quite difficult. Then the digital barriers that I was already mentioning, and what I mean about around it is also that the students, for instance, in EKA, they say that everything should be really digital. But then I learned from some of our first-year students in digital product design who are making a project how the EVP, for instance, is going. And they said that we have some incoming students who say that everything is so digital here. It's just I'm struggling. Where is the paper? So it can be really like the other way around as well. And we have to kind of know that not everyone is on the same level. And I think the wider you go, like in K107, it can be really tough sometimes. But it's, of course, the world is changing really fast, and this might not be the thing I'm saying in a few years. The cultural barriers, that is obvious. I really like the example about I'm coming and what was said before. I don't have such funny stories. I just remember we had a student from Chile, and for some reason we just could not deliver the grant on her account, and then the accountant just had to go to the bank, and then we were just giving her cash and she was giving the signature. So this kind of things can happen, but this is not a cultural barrier. Maybe it's more like administrative one. The practical matters, it can be sometimes tough for the students to open a bank account, because if you don't have an agreement with the local bank that they can open the account for free, they have to pay quite a lot of money for this. So you really have to know as a university that you make a deal with some of the local banks that they open the account for free for them. So there's a lot of things attached to it, and of course the visas and so on, but we all know about it. The turbulent world, I was just going through the numbers in K107 for EKA, and we had I think around 40 mobilities in the project of 2018, and the next year it was just hitting rock bottom where we only had number 3. And it's quite a sad story, but what can I do? I mean, the students really want to go to the United States or Australia right now, but the partner universities there are not welcoming them. So I can say that at the moment we really have mobilities going on with Israel only. But I hope it's going to get better, of course. Then there's a lot of question, is it green to participate in this program? It's this green travel and all the message about climate change, and where do we put this program in this sense. So at least in our university there is a discussion around it, but I think for the Baltics, and luckily here, maybe in a bit ironic sense, but also this is what we have to do, being on the edge of the European Union and also like on the edge of the world in a sense. So I think the students really have to experience what is going on outside and so on. So I think this is at least what we say within ECA, that we still want everyone to go and experience. And then also about this, if we what has been stated here already before, but if we write this huge application and then don't get the funding, then it can be frustrating. And even if we at the international office, of course, understand that this happens, then teachers who have been waiting for exchanges to happen, they might not be so happy about it. So I think there is definitely, I think this 20% that we can take from K103 is fantastic, but also in this project, there should be some sort of continuity aspect, and I'm really looking forward to the news here. So how we do it, we have a call within ECA, we have meetings with our institution, institutional leadership, and also in the partner universities, discussions with the partners, we sign the agreements in their application form to the students, and submit the application if it's possible. And when we get the funding, then we distribute the information around all the students. And if it's a central agreement, then it goes out for everyone. And if it's a small department level agreement, then it's only for this certain department. What makes it, I don't know how it is with it's quite interesting to know how it is with the bigger institutions, but it's sometimes difficult if there is many universities in one country that you participate, then distributing the funds is quite tricky. So maybe some of you has good examples and can share about it. And then, well, it's the same old process happening. By the way, on this photo, we have a cooperation project with Palestine, when our students and staff from interior architecture went to build a sauna there. So this small thing you can see there, this is the small sauna that they built in Palestine. I think it was kind of interesting. Most of our staff in ECA have really experienced Erasmus in some way or another. So I think this is just a kind of thank you to all these people who are actually working along with administrative stuff to make it happen. So I think in ECA we really don't have difficulties in explaining why we have to do all these things, even if it's sometimes very, very bureaucratic. And here is a photo of a nice collaboration between I think this is a nice way to show how you can go from Nord Plus to Erasmus Plus and then also to K107, when we have quite a successful design network, and then we were teaming up with the Golding School of Design through Nord Plus, and then initially it was a small local level thing, but then it grew into a bigger project when the staff and students along went to Ghana and had a color and light workshop there. And it was the last thing we did in a way before the pandemic broke out, actually. And here is a reminder, I guess, sometimes to myself and to us all, how or why we do all this stuff that we do when we write these applications and submit them. So here's another video, if you can just play it, please. That's the last thing.
Ma käisin siis Tšiilis, Diego Portales ülikoolis, mis oli siis pealinnas Santiagos. Kuna mu isa on Ecuadorist, siis mul oli endal juba suur tahtmine nagu Lõuna-Ameerika kogemus saada pikemalt. Ja ma leidsin, et Erasmus on nagu hea viis, kuidas seda saada. Ja siis leidsin selle Tšiili ülikooli ja nägin, et nad pakuvad seda võimalust ja võtsin vastu. Eneseotsinguna ja kindlasti oli ka see õppimise pool kuidagi kogeda seda, et kuidas see õppimine Lõuna-Ameerikas käib, et viskame ennast täiesti nagu mugavustsoonist välja ja et see nagu tundus ka mulle siuke enesületamine. Siis ma lihtsalt vaatasin, mis endal huvitav tundus, võtsin siukse joonistamiskursuse seal, sul oli siuke joonistamisviik ja siis sa iga päev pidid ühe joonistuse tegema. see nagu kuidagi juba eos tekitas selle nagu tahtmise nagu minna ringi, liikuda ja vaadata, näha erinevaid kohti, et sa nagu lähed välja ja näed midagi ja joonistad seda. See oli nagu mägine ja see maastik oli nagu palju põnevam. Mingid mäed olid keset linna ja nagu see oli nagu hästi tore ja nagu need olid nagu avalikkusele siis nagu olemas. Et sa said nagu käia nagu ronida sinna mäe tippu. Ja mis ma sealt nagu välja tooks olekski see, et võib-olla me peaks nagu avama rohkem neid piire ja kas või nagu sellega, et me ei pane aeda igale tuuril, et säilitame midagi avalikkusele. Aga nii-öelda selle elu poole peal septembri alguses oli protest, ülikooli protest siis, et seal oli olnud mingi ahistamisjuhtum ja siis selle peale tõstsid kõik koolis nagu müra ja nagu hakkasid nagu streikima põhimõtteliselt seal. Koolitunnid jäid ära ja oligi nagu suht kaootiline olukord, et ma läksin nagu kooli sisse ja ma vaatan, et mingi suured plakatid on pandud niimoodi üle. Siis seal oktoobri alguses oli ka Tšiilis omaette protest veel. See algas sellest, et metroo pileti hinda tõsteti paari sendi võrra. Inimesed tõstsid suurt kära üles, see läks massilised protestid ja see läks nagu hästi karmiks ära, et nagu seal sõjavägi pidi mängu tulema. Et kuidagi järsku oli siuke nagu väga, olin nagu väga hullus olukorras seal, aga ega mul muud üle jäänud, ma elasin koos üliõpilastega ja ma pidin ka ikkagi protestima minema. Ega ma ei saanud ju neist alla jääda. Kohe tekivad nagu võimalused läbi selle, et sa nagu avad ennast nagu võõrastele inimestele. Et seda nagu Eestis ei ole, keegi lihtsalt tuleb ja hakkab rääkima sinuga. Et seda oli seal hästi palju ja ma sain elamisega niimoodi, et ma olin skatepargis. Ma sõidan ise tõukerattaga. Alati on meeldinud käia linnades ringi ja avastada nagu linna läbi, nagu, et sõita tõukerattaga läbi see linn. Ja siis tõukerattaga olin kuskil skatepargis, rääkisin mingite rulatajatega juttu ja siis tuli siuke, et meil on enda korteris on siuke üks vaba tuba, et kui tahad, et siis nagu tule vaata üle ja siis äkki saad tulla elama. Ja siis niimoodi ma leidsin endale elamise seal. Eesti on ühes osas nii väike koht, et ma arvan, et enamus Eesti, kes siin natukenegi elanud on nagu juba päris palju näinud seda Eestit, et tegelikult nagu maailmas on nii palju erinevaid huvitavaid kohti, mida näha ja mida kogeda ja erinevaid kultuure, erinevaid inimesi ja kõik nagu julgeksime oma iseloomu rohkem nagu näidata ja julgeksime avatumad olla ja kindlasti soovitan, et ega see aeg raisatud ei ole.
Aitäh, Sandra. Thank you very much. No questions at the moment. We are a little bit behind the schedule, but I would have a lot. Anyway, you are doing fantastic work. I see how you managed to attract, I don't know, students from all over the world to subjects like you teach, beginning from contemporary art, ending up with animation. So
it's
fantastic
true.
job.
Yeah, our university is very diverse. Thank you.
All right, and ending up, Sandra, getting ready, Sintija. We have the third case study to see. And Sintija, the floor is yours. And we hear a story from University of Latvia.
Thank you for invitation. Dear all, good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here in front of audience, real audience, because 1.5 year break was quite a long time. So I'm excited to be here. And what I want to mention about this balance with incoming and outgoing mobilities at the University of Latvia, we have also it with key action with the program countries. So I hope that with the new program, with new type of mobilities, we will balance these numbers, because we know actually what is the problems, why our students are choosing to stay at home. And I hope, yes, with this new type of mobilities, we will encourage them to go on exchange. So I will start my presentation with sharing the map of the world. The countries colored in blue they are our previous or current international credit mobility partner countries. And yeah, there's still where to expand, but I think we are working quite good. And like a specific regions like Latin America are well-known partners in education and in languages, especially in Spanish. Like Balkan countries, we have good cooperation for the Faculty of Business Management and Economics. And what is the background? Like with some partners, like universities in Russia, they are known partners from the previous Erasmus programs, like Erasmus Mundus Consortium projects. We had Aurora 1 and Aurora 2 projects, and partners in Asian countries, we had the Erasmus Mundus Consortium leader. So here, yeah, I thought that unfortunately, there's no correct data, so I will skip this slide. Here, I wanted to show the frequency for the international credit mobility open calls, but unfortunately, as working like from home and work with computers with different softwares, I can see that unfortunately countries are not listed in correct way. But also in this table, you can see the frequency, which, unfortunately, okay, I will tell you everything what you need to know. So the frequency is that most often we apply for the international credit mobility with universities from countries like India, Albania, and Israel. These are our 3 top countries. And at the beginning, we apply for this project like from top-down approach. And historically, it was from the previous programs, like I mentioned before, Erasmus Mundus projects and other like bilateral cooperation. And at the beginning, it was like we had several universities within one country and with less mobilities for each partner. Now we are working more that we have less partners in one country, but with more mobilities, so we can make cooperation more stronger. And yeah, next slide will be when I will tell more about one of our partner in India, because with that university we applied almost for each call, and luckily we received a grant for implementing the mobilities. But that success rate statistic, also University of Latvia is working hard to write application, and I don't remember which call it was, but one project was we required 1 million budget. That was like a 1 million project, but of course we know that there's the limitations, and we received like approximately 10% to implement financed mobilities. But nevertheless, we are working on it. And now, last calls, it's more than it's down-top approach when faculties submit their proposals and we collect it because several faculties has the same partner, and also we are open to the new partnership when the universities in partner countries are willing to establish new cooperation. So we are open for that, and I'm looking forward to the next call, and we will continue already established good cooperations, and of course we will look for the new ones. So one of our good partner is Manipal Academy of Higher Education in India. As I mentioned, almost all calls we receive funding to implement the mobilities with this university. And even for that period when we didn't feel it because our projects overlaps. We are choosing like as much long as possible to do the mobilities. And what is the good synergy that we are sharing like our procedures with them, and they are sharing their procedures with us, so we can learn how better to implement mobilities, and even more like how to prepare for the application, and it's known well partner. And what is like institutional support? Is important for the quality, for the exchange mobilities. It's why there's the logo of our Key Action 3 project. Even we are not talking about Key Action 3 projects during these 2 days, I want to mention about it because social inclusion and engagement in mobility project shows that the lack of established cooperation is one of the reasons why students from underrepresented groups are not participating in international mobility. So taking into account this project guidelines and outcomes, we are applying it not only for the mobilities within partner program countries, but also for the partner countries. And at the end of my presentation, there will be the links, so you can look for these guidelines and manual and share with your colleagues and partners. And what I want to say, you are not supposed to read that, but that shows like I just asked our exchange student, alumni student, who were as Erasmus International Credit Mobility student at the University of Latvia. I asked to share some pictures and short caption about her experience at the University of Latvia, and that was short caption. So actually, behind the project, behind all numbers, there's the person. And I think the person, for that person, what the exchange means actually, how the life changed after the mobility. Because I was lucky that I could go to their her home university as the study visit, and she's now working at the university, and she not only was exchange student at the University of Latvia, but also she applied for the full-time studies, and she graduated. So she received the diploma at the University of Latvia, and I was like a happy Latvian mommy attending her graduation ceremony. And last good news, which I received from her last week, was that she's selected for the 2021 class of Europe-India 40. And she's included 40 under 40 leaders list. It's a very huge honor to be in that list. And I'm proud that she was like an exchange student at the University of Latvia, and her, again, knowledge and experience, she's still doing at home. And that is one of the stories. And there's more and more stories about each participant. And going a little bit away from my presentation, I didn't participate event 7 years ago because I was still a student, enjoying my student life as the volunteer at the NGO Erasmus Student Network and still going on exchange, Erasmus Mundus exchange in Russia. And there I met a friend I met a mentor, and now she's in this room working at the higher education university in Latvia. So the world is very small, and the exchange, international exchange mobility is like it's something more about just the projects or something. It's like a really life experience. And recently we have Erasmus Days, and we are also including to take part students and staff who took the mobilities within international credit mobility. And here's our memory wall with the pictures. And also my colleague was also in India in the same university which I mentioned before. And there's stories to tell, but we are in short time, so I will not repeat like all challenges and issues with whom we need to deal. We still need to count like days for the visa and so on. But I would like to say huge thanks to my national agency that we can deal with everything together, especially like at the beginning when we didn't know how to deal with all payments and issues, how to help students and staff to come back home and so on and so on. But I'm looking forward to better in the future. And I would like to say thank you. And here you can see like the information about that project which I mentioned and more information about the University of Latvia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, we don't take any questions, but this was, I don't know, these kind of stories, I don't know who should see them. I don't know, not only the Ministry of Education or something, but I think the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Social Affairs, anybody. I think the way that, say, Erasmus Plus is changing the world is amazing. And these keywords, I managed to read the whole story, and it was a fantastic story that this Indian student was writing. And especially the two keywords that I noticed from the soft side was that every professor was very welcoming and helping. And the second one was also the life outside of the classroom. And the keyword ESN, Erasmus Student Network, which is playing also a vital part. And I think that in the future, even more and more also for the non-EU students. And they would need this kind of life and cultural part, even maybe more than the European ones. So all these keywords were there from that Indian student. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a very nice presentation.
Thank you.